Have you ever encountered a toxic person and wondered how to navigate the situation without losing your sanity? If you've ever found yourself in such a predicament, you're certainly not alone. We've all been there, facing that unavoidable and unpleasant reality. But don't be alarmed, there's an effective stratagem you can utilize: dark psychology. Despite its slightly unnerving name, dark psychology is not a sordid tool of manipulation or deceit. Instead, it is a profound study of the basic motivations and manipulative techniques that toxic individuals often employ. It's about comprehending these tactics, learning to identify them, and devising strategies to respond. It's also about establishing defenses to guard your mental and emotional well-being from the harmful impacts of these encounters. Gaining this understanding can be an extremely potent instrument. It's akin to possessing a highly classified, secret decoder ring that can decipher complex human behavior. But the most noteworthy aspect: dark psychology not only assists you with coping and understanding toxic individuals, but it also helps shed light on your own reactions and emotions. It provides invaluable insights into your own emotional responses and enhances your self-awareness. This understanding brings a greater ability to manage your emotional responses effectively and maintain mental equilibrium even in the face of toxic behavior. But remember, it's not just about dealing with others, it's about understanding yourself. Therefore, it's not just a tool for protection, but a pathway for self-discovery. Understanding these tactics will not only help you deal with toxic people, but also understand your own reactions and emotions better. So, are you ready to dive in? The first tactic is setting boundaries. It may seem basic, but it's an incredibly potent strategy. Now picture yourself in a scenario involving a friend who has a tendency to undermine your accomplishments and erode your self-confidence. In the realm of psychology, this friend embodies the very concept of a toxic individual. Establishing boundaries is your initial shield against such destructive behavior. These boundaries are nothing more than your personal guidelines that dictate your tolerance level. They could range from a simple rule stating that you won't engage in discussions that belittle your successes, to a more complex one where you curtail the time you spend with this so-called friend. The beauty of formulating these boundaries lies in the power it provides you. It grants you the reins over your emotional health and helps you navigate through challenging situations. When you formulate these boundaries, you are making a powerful declaration. It's a proclamation that insists, "I value myself enough to prevent anyone, even you, from meddling with my mental well-being." It's important to remember, setting boundaries doesn't mean you're being impolite or cruel. You are merely safeguarding your tranquility. Moreover, boundaries assist you in maintaining a healthy mental and emotional state, fostering self-respect, and encouraging the development of positive relationships. These boundaries aren't a sign of weakness or insecurity, but rather a testament to your strength and courage in standing up for yourself. It's about valuing your comfort and acknowledging your feelings matter. To conclude, setting boundaries isn't about creating divisions. It's about defining your limits and asserting your self-worth. It's an act of self-love and self-care that helps you maintain your inner peace and emotional balance. Remember, your boundaries are your personal rules, and you have every right to enforce them. The second tactic is emotional detachment. This method focuses on not allowing others to manipulate your emotional state. It's an incredibly potent strategy, particularly useful when interacting with harmful individuals. Emotional detachment is about preserving your peace of mind while sidestepping the emotional manipulation attempts of such people. Let's take a look at Sarah's tale. A victim of her toxic superior, she was perpetually devalued and her efforts disparaged. Sarah soon realized she was emotionally ensnared by her boss's unfavorable remarks. This left her feeling dejected and disheartened. She identified the need for emotional detachment. Instead of responding to her boss's pessimism, she started to interpret his comments impartially, without letting them impact her emotionally. She redirected her focus on her job, and more importantly, her emotional wellness, rather than chasing her boss's approval. This change in viewpoint revolutionized her work atmosphere. The boss's hurtful remarks no longer held any sway over her. She had successfully extricated herself from emotional dependence. The key is to remember that you have control over your own emotions. The third tactic is the gray rock method. This strategy, fascinating in its simplicity, involves embodying the same level of interest as a dull, nondescript, gray rock. Imagine yourself in an emotionally draining situation where the participant is a constant source of conflict. Now let's delve into a more specific illustration. Visualize residing close to a neighbor, an individual with an uncanny knack for fanning the flames of chaos. Not one for tranquility, this neighbor thrives on creating drama. They seem to possess an unending supply of energy to fabricate issues and make life difficult for those unfortunate enough to be in their vicinity. Their modus operandi is to continually look for vulnerabilities, to stir up trouble, to create an environment of unrest and unease. In situations, the gray rock method comes into play, serving as a shield. It advises you to become as unresponsive as possible to their incitements, provocations, and attempts to engage. When they try to draw you into their vortex of drama, you respond with bland statements, uninteresting comments. Imagine handing them a gray rock instead of the emotional response they desperately seek. You provide them with no fuel for fire, no emotional sustenance. Your responses mirror the dull, unremarkable, and monotonous nature of a gray rock. Gradually, your neighbor finds no gratification in their attempts to provoke. They find no sparks, no satisfaction. Over time, devoid of any emotional response from you, they lose interest. The power of the gray rock method lies in its ability to render you invisible to the toxic person's radar. By becoming uninteresting, dull, and unresponsive, you into a non-entity. This is the essence of the gray rock method. You transition from being a target of toxic engagement to an unremarkable gray rock, effectively deflecting their toxicity. The gray rock method is about becoming a non-entity in the eyes of the toxic person. By becoming uninteresting, you're no longer a target for their toxicity. The fourth tactic is the toxic people mirror. This technique stresses the importance of reflecting the harmful behavior they show onto themselves. It's very much like a mirror. Consider the specific function of a mirror. It reflects back to us precisely what we present to it. Now, utilizing this concept in a practical situation, think of the toxic individual you're dealing with in your life. Say they exhibit rudeness, you can mirror their rudeness. If their actions demonstrate dismissive behavior, you show them the same dismissiveness. To fully understand the impact of this tactic, let's explore a real-life example. Meet John. John has been enduring the relentless toxicity and overbearing nature of his brother for years. He's been subject to constant disrespect, dismissal, and negativity from his sibling. But one day, something changed. John decided he'd had enough, and it was time to mirror his brother's behavior. During their interactions, when his brother was blatantly rude, John mirrored the harshness. When his brother once again dismissed John's emotions and feelings, John responded by dismissing his brother's feelings in return. This mirroring was a significant shift from John's usual behavior, and it certainly caught his brother off guard. The outcome? His brother was completely taken aback, as he saw his own toxic behavior mirrored back at him. He was forced to face the harsh reality of his actions, the negativity he spread, and the pain he caused. Mirror tactic made him confront his own toxic behavior, making him aware of the consequences. However, it's important to clarify a crucial point here. The mirroring technique is not about transforming into a toxic individual yourself, rather, it's intended to demonstrate the reality of the toxic person's actions. Often, witnessing their own behavior replicated can serve as a wake-up call for the toxic individual. It's about showing the toxic person the impact of their actions. So we've covered 4 crucial tactics to handle toxic people. We dove deep into boundary setting, essentially defining acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Boundaries are about preserving your personal space, resisting any infringement. Then we delved into emotional detachment. It's about not letting negativity from a toxic person disturb your peace. It's about retaining emotional equilibrium despite surrounding turmoil. We also explored the gray rock method, a technique to be as emotionally neutral as a stone when dealing with toxic individuals. The goal is to be dull, unimpressive, and indifferent to their drama. Lastly, we examined the toxic people mirror strategy. This entails reflecting their conduct back at them, highlighting the negative impact of their actions without stooping to their level. It's like showing them a mirror of their own behavior, making them realize their actions' repercussions. We also touched upon the importance of self-care and mindfulness in this process. Recognizing and acknowledging your feelings when dealing with toxic people is crucial, as is self-preservation. Self-care can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths, reminding yourself of your worth, or engaging in activities that bring you joy. Mindfulness, on the other hand, involves being fully present, engaged in the current moment. It's about focusing on your feelings, thoughts, and sensations without judgment. Practicing mindfulness can provide a crucial buffer against the negative impact of toxic people. Furthermore, seeking help from a trusted person or professional can be beneficial. A different perspective or advice often provide valuable insight when dealing with toxic people. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. By understanding and applying these tactics, you can protect your mental health and maintain your peace of mind in the face of toxicity.